Hello, we're having a little look around the autumn garden today, my cottage garden in the autumn. So this is the front garden, which gets sun all day long. So it's early morning, so it hasn't quite come round yet. And this is where I have my climbing roses up against the wall. This one is leaping salmon, and it's flowered quite well. This is only its second year really, so it's doing really well this season. And this is the scabiosa, which I'm not sure whether I'll leave in this garden. It's quite tall and it's falls over, and I have some stepping stones just in the front of it, so it's not really a good place for it. But it's very pretty and it's flowered continuously. This is salvia. This is a little dianthus. I have quite a few dianthus around the garden. This is probably the one that's doing the best. I love its coral colour. The geranium here, that's in its second season, it's growing well. And this rose here is fragrant cloud. A beautiful colour and an amazing perfume. Some of my verbena. Now this is a little pot of ageratum that I grew from seed. This rose is Breath of Life, and it has amazing staying power. I really love it. It lasts in a vase for nearly a week. And up there at the top of the archway is Bantry Bay. This is potentilla, which I've recently trimmed the top off and it's reflowering. And beside it's persicaria, which is started to spread quite nicely through the garden. And I love this bronze coloured grass, carex, salvia, geranium, and a little bit of lavender there, with lobelia and snapdragons. More persicaria around here. I have some catmint, agastache nipita with geranium, and a pink diaska. There's another salvia, lots of salvia around the garden, and it self-seeds quite well as well. My lupins, which are still dwindling along, still sending up a flower or two. This is the first month of autumn here. Now these seeds, seed heads are from my allium, which is ready to gather, getting past ready to gather if I don't hurry up. So I'll be doing that in a few days. Up here is the little bud, if you can see it, on the top of my James L. Austin rose, struggling in the shade. This is a little carnation, which I grew from seed. It's got a pretty little edging, pink edging around it. And these snapdragons that are self-seeding right through the garden. One of my two plumbago shrubs flowers well in the autumn, and some more salvia which I have cut back to encourage it to flower again. These are my New Zealand natives here, which I try and keep trimmed so they don't get too big, and round to the start at my Felicia. So this is the garden which is to the left of my front door along the driveway. Above this pink and white geranium is a lovely red rose, Deep Secret. Has dark red buds and a beautiful fragrance. Over in this garden I have Hamilton Gardens, which was a gift, a wedding gift. Very pretty. A lovely transition from bud into full rose. Lovely shades of apricot, cream to apricot. Some more verbena, lamb's ear down there. Now this is my second plumbago. I really love this in the autumn. It's lovely against the colour of the roses. Beautiful blue that is. So, and this is probably my best performing rose, Lady of Shalott. She just flowers and flowers and flowers. Might have a little rest, but there's always loads of buds coming. Absolutely gorgeous. David Austin rose. And this verbena looks lovely alongside her. And down below here is some marigolds that oh, and here comes my little gardening friend, Magic. So these marigolds I grew from seed. The one at the back is called, and this front Eskimo one is Daisy Wheel. You can see it looks a bit like a wheel. In the back here is another diaska, apricot coloured diaska, underneath my apricot rose. This is Laura Petlum. What? No. And beside it is a Escalonia, yellow, it's called Gold Brian. And under here is a Leptosporum, which hasn't done very well. I'm doing some cuttings of this to try and generate some new plants of that. This is a little salvia here, which dies down in the winter, covered in blue flowers through the spring and early summer. There's another carex, which I cut off the main grass. A little bit of lamb's ear here. This New Zealand flax. I've got two flaxes in the garden, and I really like the contrast amongst the other shrubbery. Little dianthus there, Sweet William. Weigela, which has pink flowers through the late spring, early summer, I think. So on the other side of this pathway is Rosy Cushion, which is a rose that I grew from a cutting several years ago. It grows really big. I have to cut it back well in the late winter. And now we're around at the front road garden, which I've filled with roses and perennials pretty much. There's no room for annuals in this garden. So you'll notice I've left the seed heads on the Philopendula. The phlox are finished. Now this is an aster, Michaelmas daisy, just coming into flower. It'll flower all through the rest of the autumn. Very pretty. And underneath it is autumn crocuses, just come into flower, and a naked lady there beside them, which isn't quite out yet. So along the front I have my more dianthus and ajuga. Some thyme there on the edging. and a bit of lavender. Now I want to show you this lupin here. Last time I did a video of this garden, the lupin wasn't in flower like this. It's got exquisite little pink edgings and more persicaria here amongst the ajuga, and a hebe in its second season, looking pretty good there amongst the ajuga and the lamb's ear. This rose is a David Austin, Lady of McGinch. Could well be my favourite David Austin, I think. Lavender salvia in the back there, and the aster again. So that salvia I think I'll bring forward later in the autumn. This is Olivia Rose Austin, that other rose there, not in flower at the moment. Another geranium with a phlox in front of it, which flowers in the spring. That little phlox, and a little bit of mondo grass in the back there. You can see my early daffodils popping up there. They're the jonquils that flower probably through the winter really. Lupins are finishing. Some Emeria here, a pink one. Alongside some catmint. More of the verbena, and the last flower on my escallonia. It's a little path through to the back garden there. Down here we have two geraniums, different types of geraniums, with some lamb's ear. And along here I planted, I don't have many annuals, but I did buy some petunias, which I probably bought a bit late really. Magic's following me around the garden as I talk to you. Now these mondo grass, I really like this grass. It provides a really nice contrast in amongst the greens and yellows.
What you doing? Hey, hello, Magic. Magic.
My best friend. This rose is called Romance. It's been flowering continuously for the last month or more. Mondo grass with the begonias that come up each year. Now we're getting along the back now where it's fairly shady. This is a very shady, dry area. My fuchsias and begonias in this area. So this is the back garden, so it's slowly losing the sun through the morning and an afternoon shade. There's a little Japanese anemone there, which is in a pot because it's inclined to take over if you leave it in the garden, which I didn't want. A penstemon there. Now there's more Emeria, a dark pink one, alongside Prunella, which is a new plant for me. Another little piece of salvia there that I cut off the previous plant. There's a seedling from many years ago when I threw down some wildflower seeds. A pink geranium there, and I really love this little combination here of the Dusty Miller variegated agapanthus and the Brunnera. And here we have the sedum, Autumn Joy, which has coloured up beautifully in the last couple of weeks. I leave the heads on these right through the winter. Look at the bees, they love it. And in the winter it turns a lovely deep bronze colour. It's really lovely. So along here the flaxes and the Dusty Miller really provide the best contrast. There's the leftovers of a little foxglove there. The foxgloves are in their second year, so I'll probably dig them out. They're biennials. I'll probably dig them out and grow some new ones, I think. Heuchera there. This is a second flowering of the Astrantia. More begonias. The heuchera under there, it's struggling a bit to really grow to its full potential. My hydrangea, Diamond Rouge, colouring up. Towards the end of the summer it starts to go really dark pink, but it also starts to get quite brown at the same time, which is a little bit disappointing. Sometimes I cut them off now and sit them inside through the winter. They dry quite nicely. Another salvia. This little Kaluna or heather here has got little pink buds on it. It's a lavender colour and it flowers right through the winter into the spring. So that'll be the next lot of colour in this garden as the other things die down. Some more Astrantia there, and this is my lobelia underneath there, the red lobelia, pale pink Astrantia, and this is a little pink forget-me-not that I've grown from seed, a pink one, quite pretty. This is Sweet William, nice red one. I like it in here alongside my flax in the corner. Lupins are struggling along. Yes, this green and cream flax, I try and put some reds in here through the season, red poppies and other reds, tulips. It's a very shady garden, that little piece there, with my blue hydrangea in there with a fern. And here's Lady's Mantle. Here's another begonia which I've had for quite a few years in that pot. So that's the back garden, the shady garden really. And I'll just take you down the back. I don't very often show this garden because it's not really up to scratch, but every year I put sweet peas here. Of course they're almost done. They've been flowering for a very long time. I've had lots of bunches of sweet peas off here, me and my neighbour. A little black shadow following me down the garden and coming round the corner. My shadow. Okay, so this is corner I've got my raspberries and some blueberries and some strawberries. So, and then I have planted my dahlias out the back here. This garden's very much a work in progress. These are seedlings from a very large hebe that's in the corner, which I moved to the corner because I knew it was going to outgrow my front garden very quickly. So now I have new hebes if I want them. So I do a garden tour around my garden and throughout the seasons as the seasons change. And I also visit some of the town gardens and see what's being laid out in the garden beds in my town and other towns and cities in the surrounding areas. So if you enjoy garden tours and looking at different flowers and colour combinations, I have a playlist of the gardens I've visited so far and my own garden tours.